Okay, we want to welcome everyone tonight to our Redox Nurse Talk that Doria and I are doing. And we do this every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, because we want to share the word about Redox and meet people and hear their stories and see how it's changing their lives. So first of all, I want to give the disclaimer that Redox Molecules does not diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. It just gives the body what it needs to help itself heal by increasing that cellular communication throughout the body. So first of all, I want to tell you a little bit about ourselves. So first of all, I want to introduce my partner, Doria, and she is in the Atlanta area. So Doria, why don't you tell us about yourself and about your experience with Redox?
Sure. So I have been a nurse for 42 years. I have been in arenas as far as going into psych, med surg, and now gastroenterology. And the Redox singling molecules came across my path about 4 years ago. I wasn't looking for it. When I heard about it, I didn't know what it was. I had a very trusted friend who's a dentist share this with me. And I really didn't see any need for it personally because I didn't have any health challenges, but I've always been open to alternative ways of healing, even though I'm a traditional nurse as well. Chiropractor care, massage therapy, essential oils. But I went ahead and, got on the product. And little did I know that I was dealing with some issues. And I think I just, the nature of the beast of being a nurse for 42 years, being on your feet for 12-hour shifts 3 days a week, you don't realize how much discomfort you have. So I think I was just kind of maybe, in deception in myself, thinking, I didn't have any issues. But within the first 3 days, personally, I slept for the first time in probably 35 years, 8 hours through the night. I continue to do that as of today. I also, all joint discomfort, back discomfort, all diminished, I would say, within probably 60 days. I have not been, I've not been sick. I don't have any problems with my sinuses anymore. I don't have any issues with discomfort in my head. It's just been a game changer for me. And because I'm 66 years old, I want to continue working as a nurse. I love nursing, and it's just given me a better vitality of health. And so I'm so thankful that, my friend, reached out to me and shared this product with me.
Okay. Thank you, Doria. And I'm also a nurse, but I live here in Nashville. And as a nurse, we see a lot of things with patients. So with my journey, when I was introduced to this, I was on a journey to look for alternative methods as well. So I tested positive for 4 autoimmune challenges and was looking for more of a natural way because I actually went to the 3rd practitioner before I was diagnosed correctly. So that's an issue too. You have to be your own advocate out there. So with this product, I've been on it almost 4 years. And at this point, I can say I'm not manifesting any symptoms of any of those 4 challenges, and I'm not on any medication, over the counter or prescription. So with this, and of course, my energy and sleep were the things I noticed first 2 weeks. And the thing I love about this company is that they really search to create the best products that can work inside and out. And we can go into more of that a little bit later. But I apologize, I didn't even mention our guest speaker tonight. So we're so honored to have an amazing lady, Marcia White. She is an Ironman Tri-athlete, and I can't wait to hear her story. And I will let Doria introduce her in a little bit, but we're going to go a little bit and talk about the technology. So I'm going to show you a very short video. It's kind of a cartoon drawing that explains this technology. And the good thing about this business, anybody can do it. You just have to press play or send someone a video. It's very simple. So let me go back to my screen. I was off last week, so I may have forgotten how to do this. So let me go back, and I'm going to find that video and we will share that. Share sound as well. Let me get back to where I need to find it. There we go. Okay. See if I can make it full screen. Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
The human body is an extraordinary creation, made up of between 50 and 100 trillion cells, each one performing just the right function in just the right place at just the right time. Your cells themselves are amazing. Each one is a bustling metropolis of activity, a city that never sleeps. Every second of every day, your cells work tirelessly to keep your body healthy and strong. One of the major functions of your cells is the production of fuel. This fuel, known as ATP, is actually created by workers inside the cell called mitochondria. Mitochondria are so vital and important that a single cell can have thousands of these little workers. In fact, it is estimated that half of the dry weight of the human body is made up of mitochondria. Mitochondria do more than supply the body with the fuel it needs. They also play a key role in cell signaling and communication, coordinating the actions and activities of your cells. When you think about it, this kind of signaling is essential for health and life, since it is the foundation for things like cell development, tissue repair, and immune functions. Without the ability to communicate and coordinate the activities of cells, we would fall apart pretty quickly. The mitochondria's role in this vital communication system lies in the fact that they make special molecules, called redox signaling molecules. The mitochondria make these molecules by the trillions, every second of every day. Good thing, too, because without these redox signaling molecules, life itself would be impossible. You need these molecules to protect the health of your cells, to detect threats and damage, and to repair or replace injured cells. Unfortunately, as we get older, our ability to make redox signaling molecules diminishes. Ever notice that bumps and bruises that disappear in no time on a child seem to last forever on someone who is elderly? The cells in that older person simply aren't communicating as efficiently as they did when they were younger, and so cells and tissues take longer to repair themselves. And all because the body isn't making as many redox signaling molecules as it used to. But what if there were a way to replenish your supply of these amazing little molecules? What if there were, in essence, a redox signaling supplement? How would your life change if you had a supply of redox signaling molecules like you did when you were younger? Such a product would be incredible, but how would you go about making it? Well, a good start would be to understand how the mitochondria in your trillions of cells make these vitally important molecules. Your cells are little bags of salt water. The mitochondria and other organelles inside the cell float around in this salt water. It's not surprising, then, that when the mitochondria need building blocks for creating redox signaling molecules, they use something they have plenty of: salt water. It works out pretty great because salt water is made up of just 4 atoms: the sodium and chloride atoms in salt and the hydrogen and oxygen atoms in water. The mitochondria pull apart these saltwater molecules, then recombine the atoms in different configurations. The new combinations are, guess what? Redox signaling molecules. Things happen so fast inside the cells that these redox signaling molecules are manufactured in just fractions of seconds. And they get used quickly too. And if the cells don't need the redox signaling molecules right away, the atoms convert back into salt water, ready to be used again and again by the mitochondria. It's a very efficient system. So to make a redox signaling supplement outside of living cells, it makes sense to start with the same building blocks: salt and water. That's just what a company called ASEA does. We begin with a pure, pristine saline solution. Then, using a highly protected and patented electrochemical process, we break apart the bonds that hold the sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms together. These free-floating atoms are then recombined in new configurations, and voila! Redox signaling molecules. Of course, the process sounds a lot easier than it really is. Your mitochondria make redox signaling molecules in fractions of seconds. ASEA takes 3 full days to make the same molecules. But the real triumph for ASEA came in overcoming the issue of stability. Remember that redox signaling molecules made in the cell get used right away or else turn back into salt water? That's because redox signaling molecules are very reactive They want to get busy and start working right now. This reactive nature makes it difficult to keep these molecules around for long. They want to get used or they'll revert back into salt water. Fortunately, after countless hours of research and experimentation, the scientists at ASEA reached a breakthrough. They discovered a process for pairing these highly reactive molecules into balanced sets, stabilizing redox signaling molecules outside of living cells. This really is something extraordinary. Molecules that last just microseconds inside the cell have a shelf life of over a year in a bottle of ASEA. Amazing! So what does ASEA, the world's first redox signaling supplement, mean for you? Simply put, it's an entirely new approach to health. Every other health and wellness product, vitamins, exotic juices, everything, tries to help the body by giving it something foreign, something the body has to try to figure out how to use. Not so with ASEA. The molecules in ASEA are native to the body. See, your body already knows how to take care of itself. Your cells actually make the tools they need, and for the first time in history, you can replenish and reinforce those tools. You can, in fact, give your body more of the native molecules it needs to take care of its own health. ASEA is more than a mere supplement. It is a foundational approach to health and wellness, a fundamental shift in how we take care of ourselves. So are you wondering just what ASEA can do for you? There's one powerful way to find out. Talk to the person who shared this message with you. Get your hands on a case of ASEA and feel for yourself the effects of the world's first and only redox signaling supplement. Your life and your approach to your own health will never be the same.
Okay, that's what I love about this. It's a very complicated technology, but yet it's so simple at the same time. So we like to use simple tools just to share it. So now I'm going to turn it over to Doria and let her introduce our awesome guest. And we'll have some time at the end, possibly for questions, if anyone wants to ask questions.
All
Doria?
right. I have the great honor to introduce to you Marcia Morgan White. She's from the great state of Idaho. She's a wife, she's a mom of 4, she is a Grammy of 5 grandchildren. She is partnered with her husband, Jerry White, who is with a profession as a physical therapist and networking for 28 years. She's currently an Ambassador Diamond. And a lot of you that may not be, or that are on this call may not know what that means. What that means is she's impacted I'm sure thousands of people with this great technology. She's also taught in the public school system, and she's been blessed to homeschool her children. And she just recently completed an Ironman, placed 3rd, and earned a spot for the World Championship in Finland. So we're so excited to have you here, Marcia. So what I want you to do is I want you to take us back to before you discovered the technology of redox, and what was life like for you at that time.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Boy, it's great to hear your stories too. And I mean, to be able to be continued being a full-time nurse at 66, that's a testimony in itself right there, because that is one hard job to stay on your feet and meet the demands of all the people. Oh my goodness. But yeah, before we were introduced to ASEA, I thought, boy, I don't really need anything. We were a part of another wellness company, used wellness products for good 16 years before that. And so I just thought, the things that I'm feeling, the way I needed to look for a chair every time I entered a room that I could lean against, because my back would hurt after a minute or two of standing, or the way, I had some big breathing challenges that limited what I could do. Running was not an option. I could jog slow, and I'm still not a fast runner, but it was very limited how far I could go before I had to walk. We used to bike ride, and there was this one hill we'd go up, and he'd try and talk to me, and I just like, be quiet, I got to get up here, I can't talk, and I had a lot of breathing issues. And I had some feet issues that were pretty major. I couldn't wear most shoes, let alone, think about when I was running or walking. I could do that every other day, but I needed to have a day off in between because my feet hurt so bad. I have some protrusions on them, some different things, and now that's, not an issue so much. So I have to baby them, but I run a lot if I'm doing an Ironman or a half Ironman. So I just thought those were things that, we're getting older. We were 52. I think I was 52 when we were introduced to ASEA, so you just think, oh, that's life. But fortunately, we had a daughter that got pretty sick before she was getting ready to go for her freshman year in college in Arizona. And that was the furthest I'd ever had one of my kids go for college. And she had that kissing disease. She had, major throat problems. She had major head problems. She couldn't get off the couch. And we were supposed to leave for a family reunion and then drive her on to college. And I thought, there's no way this is going to happen. For one thing, if she does get a little better, we all know that those types of things are very easy to come back. And as a freshman in college, the chances are she's going to get hit again real soon. And so we called up our sponsor and said, okay, we need some of this product. It's been 2 years. We put her off, and we got some of it for Katie. And within 24 hours, she was up off the couch and starting to get ready. We went to our family reunion. She forgot to take it for a day, and she crashed, got her back on it. And she enjoyed the rest of the reunion, never had any kind of setbacks during her college years in those areas. She stayed healthy, which just to stay healthy as a college student is an amazing thing. But when you go in carrying some of those things that she was carrying, that makes it even tougher. So that got us started. And I started taking it thinking, okay, I'll just experiment with it. Took 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces in the evening. Hated the taste of it. And I tell people, hey, you might take cough medicine, you can choke it down, but there's a but there. I took a cracker every time right after I drank that ASEA, and I figured, hey, I'm going to get some of the benefits, and it's better to take it and eat a cracker than to not take it. So, some people get really excited about how they have to be perfectly 10 minutes before, can't eat for 10 minutes, can't eat for 10 minutes after, whatever it is. But if that makes you not take it, then you're getting zero benefit. If you happen to take it right after you ate, you might get, maybe you're only going to get 90% benefit, but you're getting a benefit. So take it, keep on a routine, and take your ASEA, because it will change your life. And mine got changed drastically in some ways. I never dreamed. Actually, I just found my first triathlon. I did a women's sprint triathlon. It was all women, very safe thing in 2009. Some girlfriends from church and I got together and said, we need to get a little bit more fit here. We're all, we're sitting around we're taking care of our kids. We're being full-time moms and working, and there's not really time. And so we decided we needed to make some time. And those first years, and I did that women's triathlon for a long time, for probably 10 years, and just to keep fit. But my kids would literally, before ASEA, would literally ride their bike along on the run and sing worship songs to me. So, so I could keep going. And ladies would stop, because it's a ladies' event. We tend to be kind to each other. They'd stop and say, do you need my inhaler? Are you okay? Because I'm just, dying. And, so that's where I came from. And, it was gradual. It was probably 6 months before I realized that, hey, there's a little something different. Spring came, and, obviously we're outside, start to ride again a little bit. And, I noticed some differences, and I thought, wow, this is good. because the inhalers never really did much for me. You know, later I found out that I had a lot of scar tissue in my lungs, and that's probably why they didn't. And ASEA, as we all know, is helps with tissue repair and flexibility. So I think that's one reason it's really helped me along the way. But to fast forward, 2019, I guess. Yeah, it would have been 2019, 10 years of doing this little ladies triathlon, little sprint one, would take me about an hour and a half to do maybe. And, it was enough to keep you fit just because you don't, you got a little pride. But my friend Sean Burke, and many of you have probably heard of him, and Dexter Yates, they started nagging at me. Yeah, come on, you got to do this. There's this new triathlon, and it's supposed to be in the fall of 2020. It's in Washington, it's a half Ironman, which is a 1.2 mile swim, a 56-mile bike, and then a 13.2 mile, actually it's 1.4 swim, 1.4, 1.2, I don't know, somewhere in there. But then a 13.2 mile run at the end. And I was just like, there is no way I am going to do that. Absolutely no way. Well, we all know 2020 was a crazy year. They canceled that triathlon. And so Dexter talked me into, I'd been riding with her all summer, and we'd been encouraging each other. If you're going to decide to do a full Ironman, which is 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, a 26.2 miles run, usually takes a year or so to train for it. Well, in August or July, she got me to say, okay, I'll do Cozumel with you, which is at the end of November. And, ASEA, the recovery and the endurance that drink will give you is incredible, because we would go out and ride on this trail. It takes us about 45 minutes from where we would meet up, and then we'd drive out together for 45 minutes, ride 100 miles, 80 to 100 miles, get right back in the car and drive 45 minutes. Well, we should be able to just be hobbling out of the car, not be able to straighten up and just be a little stiff and stuff. But we both drink 8 ounces right when we get in the car, and we drink a whole pouch, and we do swish it. And we do wait a second before we eat food, even though we're hungry. But we do that, and we get out. It just amazes us. Even still, 3 years later, it amazes us every time, because we get out of the car and I have to unload my bike and do all that and get it into my car. And it's crazy. But the ASEA will help you to get rid of that not build up the lactic acid, and get rid of it so that you can continue on with what you're doing and be ready for the next day's workout, which is, with the next day, you have to go on a long run. You can't take a day off, and you're ready for it the next day. But so she talked me into doing that, and I went to Cozumel with her, and I have a little sticker on my car. I still have it there that says 137.6 miles. Well, a full Ironman is 140.6. So I was not prepared, but I stuck it out. And then about 3 miles from the end, my body it was done. I hadn't hydrated right. I didn't know about nutrition. I learned a lot. So the next year in 2021, I said, I've got to do this. I'm going to do it right. And I went back, and I was able to complete the whole Ironman and become a full Ironman with 140.6 miles, which just still to this day is mind-boggling to me that I was able to do that for somebody that never ever thought to even jog until I was 50 years old. It just is kind of changed. And then since then, I've started doing some 70.3s just because it takes a little bit less training time, so I got grandkids now, you got to have time for the grandkids. And this was my 4th one a week ago. And for an early season race, I thought, oh, this is going to be kind of ugly, because, we have cold winters and we haven't been outside to train, we've had to do most of it inside. And I was able to do my personal best for the actual swim, bike, and run the transition when you have to get out of the water to run to get your bike, it was very, very long. So that added some extra time. So the overall time wasn't my best time, but the active times were, which was just shocking to me. One of the fun things that happened though was because I placed, which is the first time I've ever been able to place in the top 3 in a race. And then because of that, I was able to secure a spot to go to the World Championships in the end of August in Finland. So I'm looking forward to that. That will be exciting. But one of the neat things as far as testimonies that happened to me during that race is I often take a ASEA, I'll rub down myself with Renew before I put my wetsuit on, take a little bit of, ASEA in the morning. And then when I get done with the swim, while I'm changing into my bike clothes, or getting my bike shoes on and stuff, I'll take a swig of ASEA, and I'll do the same thing in between the bike and the run. But it was kind of weird weather that I hadn't really raced in. It was cold, wet, foggy. I had some really bad allergies. And so I didn't realize I was sweating that much until towards the end of the 56 miles. And I thought, I think I'm feeling like I'm going to get a cramp in my leg. And I hadn't usually I take extra salt during this special base salt during a race during the bike. But I thought, oh, it's cold. I don't need to do that. So I took my swig of ASEA and I thought, you know what? ASEA has sodium in it. ASEA is recovery drink. I am just going to take and carry this pouch and just sip on it until it's gone. And so I drank a pouch probably was done with it by the first 4 miles, the first loop. And it was amazing. The boost it gave me, no feeling about cramps or anything, that I thought I was going to have. I thought, oh, this run's going to be pretty. And it was the best run that I've had in an Ironman race since before, ever, which was just shocking. So that's kind of my story. It's amazing. This little girl who could not run. I mean, even, 10 years, probably took me a couple of years to, probably 8 years ago, I couldn't even run 3 miles straight. And, now I'm doing, it's slow. I'm slow and steady. I'm not an antelope. I'm not one of those people you see flying by, but I can go, 13.1 miles running, after doing the swim and the bike. And it was kind of fun on the bike. Even this time there was some young college kids that were racing, and, they had their kits on with their names on them and stuff. And this one young man, he's in his college years. So he'd beat me up the hills, and then I'd work my hill down and I'd pass him on the way down. And I finally, after doing that twice, said, hey, I could be your grandma and you're letting me beat you on the downhills. So you better start working this. I wanted to say, here's some ASEA, but it was fun. It was fun to play with him a little bit. But yeah. And then, when you get done with the race, I sometimes, which is a huge issue a little bit, my windpipe will close up or something happens so that I can't breathe when I just instantly right when I stop a race sometimes. And then it happened this race, and Jerry knows now to always keep a pouch of ASEA and Renew with him. And the lady that's giving me my medal, she's like, do you need to go to the tent? Do you need to go to the tent? I'm going, where's Jerry? I said, no, my husband's got something that'll help me. I'm gonna, I'm gonna be okay. But as soon as I drink that ASEA and put the Renew on, I can breathe fine. But before, it's scary.
Yeah. Wow. It's incredible. Well, I wanted
So that's my story.
I love that. So, read this beautiful blue bottle. That's what we're talking about, right? So, we know that ASEA scientifically tested this in a lab, I think, Torrance Laboratories, and it showed that the molecules activated, genetic pathways and genes. So how important, because it improves immune system health, it helps maintain healthy inflammatory response, helps to maintain cardiovascular health and improve gut health. How important it is, all of those when you run as an athlete.
I should have some right now. I mean, I can breathe. Sorry, the allergies are really bad this year. But I'm still able to train, which is wonderful. And that hasn't been the way in the past. But excuse me, those molecules are huge as far as what they do for you and when you need them. And not all of you are going to be an Ironman athlete. I mean, that's just not going to be in most people's cards. But maybe right now you don't walk around the block. And walking around the block is your marathon. And if you start taking your ASEA, you're going to find out that instead of saying, oh, I got to take a day off, I'm just exhausted, my legs hurt, that if you take your ASEA right before that walk, right after the walk, that you're going to be ready to walk the next day. And with everything in life, we know consistency is so important if you want to improve something. If you want to improve your business, it's consistency, doing a little bit every day and then start doing a little bit more and a little bit more. If you want to get healthier, whether it's your eating habits, your exercise habits, whatever, you got to make a little change and be consistent with that. And then you can add another one. With our ASEA product, it really helps to do that help you to recover so that in your fitness, you can do that little bit the next day. And in maybe some other health issues, like Cyndi was saying, she had some major health issues, and with taking her ASEA, she's able to now overcome those and continue on with a life that is the one she probably dreamed of having, not the one she thought she was going to have to settle with. And so many of us in life think, especially, when we get to 50, 60, maybe 70, 80, 90, that we just have to accept how we're feeling. And that's even in the kids in the 20s and 30s, where my kids are right now. A lot of their friends are starting to settle and say, well, I'm starting to get old, I can't do as much. They don't need to have that mindset because they have, or that physical set, because they have products like ASEA and the Cell Performance line that can help them to overcome. And even our skincare line. I abuse my skin a lot. I was a swimmer. I was a lifeguard. I was a swim instructor. I ran a swim school for years. My skin has been abused. And the changes, if you look at my picture from when we first were introduced to ASEA to now, it's dramatic. I mean, yeah, I've aged 10 years, but my skin is not looking like a 64, 65-year-old. And it should be. My sisters were just up here and my brother were just up here in January. And it was incredible to see they've abused their skin as much as they're athletes and stuff, but wow, there was a definite difference, and it's not all because I'm the little sister. So
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you. So one more question I have. I know Cyndi probably has several too, but how do you explain this to somebody, the actual technology, to just the average person?
I say very little. I listen a lot to find out what it is that, might interest them. I don't assume what it is that's going to interest them, because most people don't talk about the things that aren't perfect in their life. They talk about the things that are good. Facebook's a classic example of that. Most people don't put up that, oh man, my hip is killing me. They'll put up that, oh, here's my cute grandkid or whatever. So you need to listen a lot. And then like the video that you guys showed tonight, I think is just such a nice, simple explanation. But basically, I'll tell them it's going to help your cells to communicate with one another better, and therefore your body can perform to its optimal health. And you know what? Most people want to know, what does aspirin do? What's the benefit to me? The benefit is, your head's not going to hurt. They don't want to know that it's made up of these certain particles and that it goes in a bottle and the container is this and, because they just want to know, what's the benefit for me? So I try to share benefits more of what it is. And then if they think they want more, which they usually are just saying, is there more out there? I don't really want to read it or see it. Then I'll send them to ASEA Science or go to ASEAglobal.com and they can look up the science area in there. It's the very rare person, and I'm sure that you and Cyndi, being nurses, have had problems with that because people think you should be able to do all the sciencey stuff part of it, or that you're supposed to tell them all of that. And if you do, they can't duplicate it. So they're not going to start to share ASEA because, oh my gosh, I can't tell anybody. I can't remember all that. You know, I haven't taken that much cell performance mind yet. And how am I going to do that? But the best way, I like to just do the simple explanation and then pair them up with somebody for a 3-way call that maybe's had a similar, if it's a health thing or financial, similar experience. Maybe go to Healthy Self and I'll find a testimony if the person prefers text, and I'll copy the testimony and I'll text it to them. And then I'll say, I'd like to, add you to this page. There's many more examples like this for you to go through. But it's got to be benefits driven, you guys. You cannot be doing the facts. Facts don't tell. I mean, they don't sell. Stories do. And if you tell your story, your personal testimony is one of the best ways to do it. But your personal testimony needs to talk about what you didn't like. Forget about the medical terms, because most people don't know what that feels like, that medical term. But they do know that what it feels like to feel like I can't get out of bed in the morning. I can't vacuum my house. I can't, the things that you can't do because it hurts so bad, or, whatever. You don't have the endurance to do it. You didn't have the endurance to do it. And now, God, I vacuum my own house. I can tend to my garden. Those are things people can understand. They can understand, I felt like crap, and now I have a life again. And it's not the life that I'm settling for. It's the life I dreamed of having. And that's where I go with it. And if they're one of those really odd people, there's going to be 1% that truly wants to know the science. And it's usually that 1% that won't do anything with it. They're just curious. They're a student. They're a professional student. And you're going to spend a lot of time and a lot of other people's time trying to satisfy their professional student curiosity.
Marcia, I like to share the story or the information about our top 2 income earners or housewives with the public high school diploma. I mean, they don't have the science, but they have obviously made this work very well for them.
Yes. And our sponsor, Denny, she's never done a presentation since we've been in anyway. She shies away from them. She uses the experts. She uses the tools,
right?
And we've got so many great tools. Send people to the tools because those are duplicatable. Right. If Doria's not duplicatable, Cyndi's not duplicatable, I'm not duplicatable, but a tool is. And it was very frustrating when we first got in. Those top money earners were all in Europe, opening up Europe, and I'd call them with a question. Well, what about the conference? What about this? Well, go to that video on amazing molecules, and then write down your questions. And, we know too that people, what they discover for themselves is what's going to stay inside. What they're told usually doesn't stay. I'm a kinesthetic learner, especially too. So really for me, if I go try and find the answer myself and write down my questions and then go to somebody with my questions instead of what the video or what they think my questions are, it's much more better. It's much more better. Good English. It's a lot better use of my time and their time, because we often think that people have questions that they don't really have, and that just slows everything down. The other thing I remember to tell people is if they start to get into that sciencey trail and want to go down that way, is, hey, we give a money back guarantee, 30-day money back guarantee. Use it, order yourself some, use it, because that's going to be the thing that really tops you over, not something written on a paper. And then if you while you're using it for that first month, do your research then. But why wait another month to get started?
That's a good point. Does anyone have questions for Marcia? If you want to put your hand up, or we'll unmute you, or whichever, and we'll take any questions that she may have. That was awesome. So Marcia, I have a quick one though. How old were you when you first did your first marathon?
My first marathon, how old was I?
Yeah,
I would have been in 2020. So I was 3 years ago, 62.
that's awesome. Wow.
I did one in training and then, well, almost one. I guess I did one in training then. And then the next year I did my second one at the end of my Ironman. So I
Wow,
was
that's
not a runner earlier in life.
well, I'm not a swimmer or a runner, so I would struggle. That's awesome. That's impressive.
Looks like
Barbara?
Barbara Stoltz, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Barbara.
Hey, Marcia. Nice to
Hey,
see
Barb.
you. Congratulations. Woo.
Thank you.
I'm excited about this. I wanted to know, besides your daughter, obviously, that being your closest first testimony, what have been a couple of your other favorite testimonies over the years?
Favorite testimonies, any testimony that changes somebody's life, whether it's huge or little. Sometimes it's the little ones that are pretty exciting. You know, I mean, it's pretty life-changing for my daughter when I take my grandkids yesterday. We went walking through the grass and the bushes and down to the creek and back, and they came back covered in mosquito bites. And to be able to take a tube of our serum, our advanced serum, the little blue tube, put that on them right away, and they haven't said a word about them since then. That's an amazing testimony. But then we have friends that have chosen to use ASEA for some really life-threatening cell problems and are still here today and are healthy and happy. And those, of course, are extreme. You know, when you can do that, and share that with somebody and have that happen, that's pretty exciting too. So, you know, it's all any one of them. And then there's the financial ones, you know, when I can help, you know, some of the people that we've brought in, you know, they've been able to retire from their traditional work and are home with their families. You know, we have one associate who's an older woman who has been able to take her grandkids on mission trips, who is able to continue backpacking with her husband and things. And to be able to do that at 79, 80, you know, that's a huge testimony to me too. So there's just so many. It's you know, any one of them is great because it's helping somebody to have the life they dream of having instead of the life that they're settling for.
That's true. Any other questions? This is your time to ask Marcia.
I had another quick question. Marcia,
Okay.
what was your first impression of Vertus Norton, the founder of our company?
That he was an incredible man, but I was ready to say we will not join ASEA because I didn't want to have the leadership change. Our old company, the leadership changed and the company went down. But 5 minutes later, in walks the staff that he is training up. And it was like, okay, we have another level of leadership who the vision of the company has been directly shared with, and is going to stay consistent because they are being mentored by him right now. And I've seen that again now where those group of young men, some of them are have moved on, but they have mentored the next group with our vision, because if the vision dies and the heart dies of the company and it becomes a bean counter company, then it's going to go downhill. But our corporate side has learned that heart, and every one of the leaders in the corporate side has the heart for people and the heart to help change people's lives for the better. And so that's kind of a long answer to the question, Barb, but it made me nervous to have a 7-year-old guy at the helm at first, and until I found out that he really wasn't. He was what he was doing was training up people in to continue on with that vision.
Thank you. Great answer.
Any other questions? Marcia, we appreciate you coming and sharing your story so much. This has been a blessing and just an honor. And I appreciate Doria for reaching out to you as well.
Well, it's great to be with you ladies, and I love hearing your stories. So thanks for giving your time too, because it is a commitment on your part to do this every Tuesday night. And those of you that are on this call, I sure hope you're sharing this Tuesday night opportunity with other people that maybe this is a night that works at a time that works for them to get a bigger vision of what ASEA is and who ASEA is, especially who ASEA is. I think that's crucial.
Special. It is crucial. You've got to love the company or the founders and the leaders of the company as much as the product. And I think we have both here, great products and great leaders as well. So everyone get back to the person that invited you to this Zoom and get any other questions answered that you may have. And we will do this every Tuesday night. Next week, we have Dr. Ed Delos Reyes, trying to say that properly. And he's from Kentucky, so he will be speaking about his testimonial as well. So, there's one more question. I see Betsy.
I wanted to ask to get walking, get more energy, and keep boosting my heart. Instead of only the liquid, do you think the Renew 28 gel, putting it on the front back of my neck, do you think that would help give energy for my heart to keep going and to get going, get walking and moving more?
Yes, I definitely think so. I'm a big fan of Renew 28. I literally, after every shower, I do it from head to toe. But I would highly recommend that everybody every day with their Renew 28 use it on their face, their front of their neck, the back of the neck, and in their armpits, so they get in their lymph node system. That's just, and then of course swipe across your chest, because that always gets abused with the sun and all of that. But yeah, I definitely would be doing that. And then of course drinking your ASEA. And then just to start out with a little and then add a little bit more, never more than 10% per week increase in your exercise. Because if you want to keep it a long-term journey, you're going to stay injury-free then.
Right.
As I'm ramping up my running, I don't add more than 10% a week. So
It's good to know.
Thank
And
you.
drink.
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
congratulations to you if you're going to start trying to be a little more fit. There's nothing better in life. You can keep up with things and you feel better and you have more energy, you sleep better, all of that.
And it's never too late, right?
Nope, never too late. Never too late.
That's a challenge for us, Cyndi.
Sounds like
That's
it.
right. We should have a 5K or something at, walk at convention and see how many people we could get to work up to that. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I might could do that, but a marathon is a totally different story.
Oh, that's, yeah. And that's, it's funny because we all, you try and compare it to other people or what they're doing. And, oh, I'm only doing 3 miles. I said that for so many years. I can only run 3 miles, or I can only run 2 miles. But you know what? Those 2 miles and 3 miles, and 4 miles and 5 miles. I still doubt myself when I head out the door on a run some days that, can I really do this, what I plan? And it's more than the person that's sitting on the couch. And the other thing you have to remember as you start this fitness journey is love the person that you are now, because that person that you are today, that physical person you are today, is going to be what takes you to what you are in a year from now or 6 months from now. And that's important to remember, that the person you are today is who is going to carry and do the work to get you to where you want to be. So love that person, love the person you become too, but It's important to love the person you are today too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. I wrote lots of notes. Thank you so much.
All right. You guys have a great night and look forward to seeing you all at convention.
Sounds
September.
great.
That's great.
Coming fast.
Awesome. It
All right.
is. Thank you very
All
much,
right.
Marcia.
All right. Good night.
Thank you,
Everyone have a
Marcia.
good night. Y'all
Thank
have a
you
good
all.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. You did a great job, Martha.
Stop recording.